Well, it's all right. Riding around in the breeze. Well, it's all right. If you live the life you please. Well, it's all right. Doing the best you can. Well, it's all right. As long as you lend a hand. You can sit around and wait for the
Hello,
phone to
everybody.
ring.
Welcome back to Creepy Podcast Part 2, number 12 in April 26th. It's Maddie and JoJo. I'm Maddie, and this is JoJo.
Hello, world.
That's JoJo. And we're back, and yeah, well, here we are.
Here we are.
And I just told you a story about cloudships.
Yes. Can we tell our viewers about that same story? Go ahead. Sum it up.
All right, same story. All right, same story. There was a group of people that were in New Mexico, and they were using special equipment that they had designed to monitor UFO, invisible, by the way, phased out. They call it phased out, but invisible UFOs coming and going out of the Dulce area, New Mexico Air Base. And they're picking up, like, their propulsion signatures, so that, and they were able to determine that, yeah, there's craft here, even though we can't see it. They're coming and going. And it was quite a lot, obviously, because it's like, you know, they're doing it all day long, everywhere.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, well, if they can do that, then maybe I'll be able to do that in my own research, in my own life. So I started, like, and this is probably, like, you know, this is like late, like 2010-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Through like 2015, and so I really I have found these like blue glasses that like block out blue. They're like, they're from Revo, so you can actually buy them, but they're cool. They're like blue lenses, and for some reason I can see things that I normally can't see in normally, but with these blue lenses I can kind of pick up certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that, and I got the binoculars, and I started looking at stuff, and I started realizing that some of this craft could be giant, and in the clouds, because they're making their own clouds, they're to hide in.
Oh yeah.
So pressure differential, and you know, that kind of thing, and condensation. So they make their own clouds, and it's a certain sort of style of cloud. I don't know the name, but you can kind of tell when you're looking at it. Like, something's different about that. And a lot of times, especially now in the modern day, because they're showing themselves more, what you'll see is it's in between the clouds. So you'll see like a space of what is like, quote unquote, blue sky between the clouds, but that is really where the ship is. You'll start to see like 90-degree lines, like corners, angles, and then like really straight lines in the sky. Like, I have tons of pictures of these. They were here the other day. They're probably here today.
You'll have to send me some of those pictures so I can put them on this podcast. That'd be really cool.
So, yeah, I was going to do that actually. And so I determined that they were coming in from the Pacific Ocean and flying directly overhead. They seemed to show up when I was there, or they would show themselves a little bit. Like, they would make more clouds, sort of, and they would fly directly over me, over this place that me and my son used to go to at the beach. And then they would go inland and go over our city, and then for some reason, whatever reason, they would fly up this canyon over this park where we also used to go all the time. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go over to this park and wear my blue glasses and lay on the grass, and my son will just be playing at the playground, and it'll be a great time for me to just look up into the sky. No one will know I'm looking up in the sky. Because otherwise, if I'm just standing there and looking at the sky and pointing, a lot of times people are going to, like, you know, not appreciate that.
Right.
So I'm just laying there, minding my own business. Jack's playing. My kid's playing. I got my glasses on, and I'm like, I'm really, like, set to do this. I'm like, okay, today I'm going to, you know, spend at least 5, 10, 20 minutes checking out these clouds. Because if you just look at clouds anyway, it's quite interesting. But
oh, yeah.
So I was there, and lo and behold, here come the ships. They're flying up the canyon over this beautiful grassy valley with trees and everything, and dogs running around, kids playing. And there was people there anyway, but nobody's looking up. So anyway, I'm looking up, and this giant hatch opens up, and the hatch is like it. It's 100 by 300 yards by my estimation. So a hatch door slides open to the side, slides to the west as it's going east. It slides to the west, and it's a giant hatch. It's basically the undercarriage of a giant mothership, and that's how they fly their. If you watch G.I. Joe the movie, they'll show how they have like aircraft carriers in the sky hiding in clouds, and this is before that movie came out, by the way.
They always
So
show us. They always show us in movies. Oh my gosh.
so that's how they fly their craft up in there and stuff. But there's, like yesterday we're talking about William Tonkin with the submarine, so it's easier for them to retrofit or even to just manufacture this whole hatchway system on the bottom side carriage of the ship, so they can fly their craft back up and land it and stuff inside there and fly in and out. But anyway, I had just gotten through this whole thing of learning about magnetics and how they use magnetics like a lot, especially electromagnetics, like in their craft and stuff. That's how like hatches open, doors slide open, landing gear land, on and on. But anyway, this door slides open like instantaneously, but I could see it slide, and I go, dude, that's magnetics. And it's about 100 wide by 300 yards long, 300 yards. And by my estimation, it was about 10,000 feet up, because I don't have great eyes, but I can still see. I'm pretty sure there were personnel standing around the edge looking down at me.
Wow.
And I was there for about, a few minutes watching this thing. And then eventually I look around, I go, does anybody else see this? And then when I look back, they started allowing the clouds to kind of cover it again, and then it disappeared and it carried on its way eastward. So everything's coming in from the west here, from the Pacific, and then moving east over this, over my city, I guess. I don't know.
That's crazy.
But it was David Wilcock that kind of turned me on to, hey, these UFOs are making clouds, and there could be like much larger, ships up there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like docking the smaller ships in the larger ships, right?
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
They could easily put a TR-3B up in there, and then or any other craft for that matter. It's fine. They just whatever. They move slow. Another way they mask too is if you look at it if you're looking at a cloud ship that's masked or phased out or using clouds to cover themselves, and the predominant wind is going one way, the cloud ship can stay there by moving the cloud backwards against the wind slightly, like almost unnoticeably, and then it resets itself in the same position. So it never has to. It doesn't have to move if it doesn't want to. It can stay in that same position. But what you'll see is just a cloud, and unless you're totally watching really carefully, you won't see it. I've seen the cloud go backwards against the predominant wind, and I've asked it to do it, to show me, and they've done it.
Wow.
And then other things, like if you ever eaten acid before, like you'll see things separate, like the wall will separate and then become like a few different. So soberly, I'm looking at this thing, and that's exactly how they do it too. They'll separate what you're seeing, and then they move something back, and then it reabsorbs back into the hologram.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, when I post on Facebook about cloud ships, and that's the only subject that they'll get up my nuts about on Facebook.
Of course. Of course.
Like every single time, which just proves to me that they know that I know, and the whole thing, and they just try to. I don't know why I don't even know who's on Facebook to try to. I don't know these people. I do cloud ships, and then like hundreds of people will show up to make fun of me and to ridicule me. No idea who they are. And then if you go through their bios or whatever on their pages, they don't even post anything. Clearly they're just bots.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
So I don't know who's watching me, where they're just like, don't talk about cloud ships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one touchy subject they don't like you talking about. Well, speak.
Which I have no, with all the other things that I talk about and all the other things going on, that's like the least. I don't know. It must be important to them though. They don't like it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of psychedelic trips, did you see that Trump has put out an executive order legalizing psychedelics? Some
Oh, really?
psychedelics, not
Uh,
all psychedelics, and I can't remember the exact name of
I think,
it.
mushrooms or?
Yeah, it's a form of ibogaine. Ibogaine.
Oh, okay. Well, it really helps people. Some of that stuff,
That's what they're saying. I mean, I guess um a vet-
like for depression and stuff like that. Instead of taking their pharmaceutical bullshit, you just take a little like microdose of different mushrooms.
that's what the veteran that came out saying. He's like, this is just microdosing, and it's helped the PTSD in the veterans like substantial.
Oh, totally. It totally does. You
So,
can you can change like if you take mushrooms, psilocybin, and yeah, I mean, obviously you'll get high and the whole thing if you're taking enough or whatever.
hmm.
Um, but you can also like go into your body with your mind and like fix stuff.
Oh yeah, I firmly believe
Like
that.
yeah, like
I
you have way more control over your body and you're like super in tune like with what's going on.
That's why I've wanted to do that ayahuasca trip. I have to do that at least once in my life.
I know, but that's such a you always say that, but
I
that's
know.
one thing I've never done, and that is like a really huge.
I'm either going to live through it or die through it. I don't know which one, but it needs to happen, I feel like.
Well, I'm not going to some jungle with some weird third world people
You
to
almost have.
do it. That's first thing. Second thing is you got to get the whole combination and shipped out here. There are people and places you can go to have it done, but even I don't want to go seeking that out. The next level would be like DMT, which I
Mhm.
would suggest because you just smoke it and you're only doing like a 10 or 15-minute trip, but
Right.
in that 15 minutes you could live like 3 lifetimes.
It's just crazy because they always say, like back in the day, especially with the LSD, that the CIA and FBI and all that were like putting some
Yeah.
form of a mind control into the LSD, which is why they kept reporting. Everybody kept reporting like the same little alien or little being that they kept seeing on their trip. That's not cool.
Well, I don't know if they can do that. I think that what's happening is it's opening up certain doorways. Maybe they can like close off other ones so that you only see certain
Maybe.
levels,
Yeah.
but I think everybody's seeing the same thing
It's crazy.
because it's real. Like the same thing with these certain mushrooms that Triniceps or I forget uh
Like,
Qualicept or something where it's this one particular mushroom. It's the one it's red with the white dots on it. I forget the name of it. And if you eat that one, you will see little people. And it's been like happening over hundreds of years by people who don't know each other from different places all over the world, different tribes, different cultures, white people, black people,
what?
islanders. Everybody who eats this particular mushroom will see little people.
Once you described a little, what'd you call it? Like, a gremlin or I don't remember.
Oh, the elf or the
Yeah, the elf. And I'm telling you, I read somewhere where like three other people described it exactly the same way you had saw it. So there's something to this. There's definitely something to this.
well, when people that aren't even related are seeing the same thing, you got to start, connecting them together a little bit. I think.
Exactly. So what do we think about this whole David Wilcox committing suicide? I something's fishy here.
Yeah, you have to include the fact that all the scientists. Well, the biggest thing is the 11 scientists died,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew some of them.
Mm,
They're all like some of them were into anti-gravity research.
right.
They're all somehow involved with UFOs.
Yeah, that Amy Ridge, she died. She was the anti-gravity scientist that
That's right.
yeah.
And then his book editor also died.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
And that was like a few days before him, and he seemed really like sketchy
Yeah.
in that last, and he kept looking to his right, and I just wonder if I don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know. Maybe if there were people there already, maybe he was already going into WITSEC at that time,
Yeah.
and they were there. And I mean, that's the only thing. That's super hopium to think that they're putting them into WITSEC. But
Did you see that video?
if that's the case, then we're close. Maybe we're close, or maybe we're not close. I don't know, man. It's I don't know.
Did you see that video I posted on Facebook?
Uh,
His last video, his literally last video that he posted, he cautions everybody on the risk of suicide and not to do it and how bad it is to do it. And it
right.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
he goes out and suicides himself. I don't believe it. I don't believe how many coincidences till it's mathematically impossible.
Well, we all say that we're not suicidal and we're not going to suicide ourselves.
Yeah, he post I saw a post from I think it was 2022 where he's like, I'm not suicidal. Seems like that's the MO. As soon as they say that, boom, they're gone. I
Yeah,
I do have hope.
that might be the exit. That might be like the exit,
I'm thinking that's where my
like kind of
is.
exit term, and then they WITSEC them. WITSEC being witness security, but
Right.
witness protection, basically. But I don't know.
Well, that's where my hopium goes to. I hope so. I hope many of them are there. But
Yeah, I do too.
David touched a lot of subjects, though. He was on.
He didn't back down about the Saturn Club and everything.
Oh my
So
God, the Saturn Worshipping Club. Go out and research that rabbit hole if you haven't, guys. Oh my gosh, yes.
well, I mean, you got dudes like Randy Fine and all his buddies that are all like super high up in the government, putting like the big, the black square on their forehead and wrapping their arms and doing that whole ritual. And I forget what the name of that's called, but it's disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
It's clearly some sort of Babylonian ritual.
100%.
So they're not praying to God. They're like, looks like they're doing a ritual to the cube of Saturn, the black cube, which is inside the star Remphan, the six-sided star,
The black.
which is the Merkaba. It creates a cube inside there. It's a black cube.
That's probably one of my most favorite rabbit holes I've jumped down over the years. I couldn't believe.
Yeah. Well, then you go look at Saturn, or what they call Saturn,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a giant cube up there. There's a hexagonal shape on whatever the surface of that is,
Mm-hmm.
and there's rings around it. And then if you're like into crater Earth theory, if you've done any research in that, which like I'm probably the only freaking dude on the planet. I'm like probably one of like 10 people. Right. But so Saturn could actually be a corresponding crater, not next to ours. It'd be quite a ways away, but somewhat next to our crater. And then if you look at the moon map, and then there's a corresponding crater with the moon map, and then you go down into that crater on the moon, and you will see again the rings.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's basically a crater with a bunch of craters inside it, and there's some sort of hexagonal shape inside the crater. So is that crater actually the Saturn that we're looking at? And it's a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But if you look all that up, the crater and the star map line up. I've been saying this for a long time, and if you adjust for size, it lines up. So
Right. Well, and it also jumps down a rabbit hole, of a certain tiny hat club
mhm.
and how they're related to that. The Star of David.
Well, they all go around one. Remember how they all march around the giant cube, like in the Middle East?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Mecca?
Well, and some say that it wasn't really the Star of David, that was nowhere in the Bible, but actually
Well, it's in there twice.
but it's actually the Star of what is it, Remphan, which belongs
Remphan, yeah, Star of
to Allah.
Remphan.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see if I can star mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah, see if
In the Bible, let's see here.
let's see if we're right. I didn't think it was mentioned once in the Bible.
Well, here we go. Star of Remphan in the Bible, okay? Reference to Amos 5:26, and the Israelites having it in the wilderness was also made in Acts 7:43. Here it was called the Star of Remphan. All these names refer to the god of Saturn.
Yes.
What are the what is the tabernacle of Molech?
Hmm.
The Star of Remphan is the
Mm-hmm.
Star of Molech.
Yes.
Oh, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Don't do that. Okay, yeah. The hexagram, see, was brought to the Jewish people by Solomon when he turned to witchcraft. Uh-oh.
Hmm.
And then that's a whole nother story, because I think I already told this about how he wasn't supposed to race mix with the foreigners that are outside his gates.
Yeah.
And so they would camp out there, but they would send all the women to the front, and like they would dance all like, seductively. And so eventually he went out there and took a wife from the foreigners, and then they moved in, and the very first thing was they said they had to start worshiping to their idols. And that's how they got in, and that's how how God turned his face away from Solomon and allowed the foreigners to overtake his cities, and then he was destroyed. And that was all altars built to the satanic worship of Ashtaroth and Molech, or Saturn.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to that, but and that's where modern day witchcraft came from, and the whole thing of like a ring to control them all, because he'd made a ring which had a sigil on it, and that kept the demons at bay, so they couldn't get him. And the demons are the ones that built the Temple of Solomon, the entire castle of Solomon, or the Solomon's,
Mm-hmm.
who knows where that was, because I think it's destroyed now. But the timeline's all weird, because this would have been a huge building with huge building blocks and stuff, and these demons were working night and day to build it.
Right.
And this reminds me of a lot of these stone structures, the remnants, the ruins that we see on Earth today, all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
with these giant stone blocks. Why on earth are we using stone blocks? I didn't even, as a builder, as a modern day builder, that doesn't make any sense. But if you want to build something that's going to last forever, you would use the stones. And why? And specific stones from specific quarries. Who's coring them? They don't even have that technology back then.
Mm-hmm.
They're dragging them from like incredible distances, and then what's the purpose of the stone? And where did the stone come from originally? Is it the flesh of giant titans that have solidified or petrified? Which is sort of what I think. Or it could be the petrified remnants of the giant trees even.
Mm-hmm.
And there must be some sort of magical quality to that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, just before we leave that, if you look inside the six-sided star of Remphan, or the Macabre, which is two pyramids upside down, one right side up, one upside down, and they cover each other. That's what the Star of Remphan is. They call it Star of David. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Star of Remphan.
Right.
If you look inside that, the shape makes a hexagon,
But do you know what Remphan means?
and the hexagon
Do you?
is a 3D shape signature for a cube, which is the cube of Saturn.
Yes.
Remphan,
It means
I don't
Satan.
know. I forget what that. What does it mean?
Satan.
Oh, it means Satan, the Satan. So that's the head.
So, okay, so the Star of David is actually the Star of Remphan, you said, which is actually
Right.
the Star of Satan.
Okay, so Satan is the leader. The Moloch is it's the idol that you worship to,
Mm-hmm.
and Baal is the god. And I think, like in Genesis, it talks about. Remember, I told you this a while ago. Like, it seems like there's more than one god they're talking about in Genesis. Like even within the first 4 chapters,
Mm-hmm.
it says there's a god, or God could be plural. Like there's, it could be a group, this God group, created the heavens and the earth, and it does all that, and it kind of sloughs over that. It's like, oh, 6,000 years, and it's also like, oh yeah, by the way, there's also stuff before all this, but
Right.
regardless, whatever. Then it moves on. Then all of a sudden it goes, the Lord of this world, God, and it starts talking about that God, and then if you do like some really deep research on that, Lord is actually a term for Baal, and Baal is the Lord God of this world.
Mm-hmm.
And and remember when Jesus was on the earth, who offered him all the kingdoms of the earth
Right.
was a character named Satan. So Satan and Baal, they could be the same dude.
And why are there black cubes everywhere? You've got one in Australia. You've got one in Washington, D.C. You've got, I mean, what you've on
Out in front of the out in front of the IBM building and
yeah,
stuff like that. In
they
front of CERN and
they put one at 9/11 at the site of 9/11. Yeah. Why do we have all these black cubes? What do they represent? It's the Saturn. They worship Saturn.
they put the black cube on their forehead and wrap their arm, and then they go around it like clockwise or counterclockwise in Mecca or something. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well that's not dolphins. Okay, so dolphins, totally different subject. Sideways. You have to do the record skip.
Yeah.
Record skip sound bite. I can't even talk today. Okay, so the dolphin thing I was tripping on, it started with Gerald going to the bottom of the ocean, being abducted by dolphins.
Oh my gosh.
Remember that story?
Yeah.
I think they're trying to tell him something. And then and then some dolphins turned up dead. 41 dolphins turned up dead.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got this other story of Ashley Incorporated, who says that she knows somebody who wrote into her for her stories that basically they're going out fishing and they're trying to catch like a mer person.
Oh my gosh.
And oh no, actually this one wasn't. This one was somebody went to a Hollywood type secret party,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all eating, and what they're eating came out on the table like in these platters. Kind of reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, like some really weird ass crap. All these delicacies or whatever.
Oh yeah, the monkey brains. Ew.
Right, but in this particular instance, it was like this weird gray meat
Ew.
fish, like it's a type of fish, and she ate some and immediately got sick.
Oh my gosh.
But they were all eating this, and it was alluded to her that this is mermaid.
Oh my gosh.
Right, I know. And then there's this other thing, and so I've been going down this mermaid rabbit hole for like 2 weeks, and so like if you eat mermaid flesh, it supposedly will make you immortal. No, it'll lengthen your life or something like that.
Oh wow.
It's got this weird magical property. So naturally, the elites are the ones that are capturing it. Then I tripped on this other, the lady I was telling you about yesterday. I can't remember her name. The one on Facebook.
Yeah.
You'll just do a little overlay of that. I forget her name.
Yes, I will.
And then so she and her stories are even crazier because she is usually 1 to 3 degrees of separation away from the person who told the story. So she kind of knows the people that tell these stories almost personally,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them she does know personally. She went to school with them. But this guy, he was a felon, and he gets out of prison or jail or whatever, and he's looking for work. He can't find any work. So somebody goes, hey, why don't you go down to the docks, because I kind of my actually, I think it was his mom, because why don't you just go work on the boat with your cousin or whatever. So he goes down there. Long story short, the cousin had sold the boat to this new captain. The new captain is totally reclusive. I think he's part of a black operations brigade. And without going too deeply into the story, basically, they take him out in this boat and they stay out there way longer than they're supposed to, and then they find out that everybody on the boat's an ex-felon. So what are they going to do, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of like stuck out in this boat, but in the midst of all this is going on. he gets a big tour of this boat, which is a medium-sized fishing trawler, but it's pretty big size. But down in the hold, in the holding tank, whatever, they've got all these tanks, and these tanks are like 6-8 feet by like 4 feet and 4 feet tall. They're on wheels, but they're secured. They're secured to the boat decking or the in the hull,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't move around, obviously. But you could do that really easily, and then move the tank around or whatever on wheels.
Yeah.
Well, they caught something in their net, and then they come, and it was, well, he calls it a siren. So I think there's like different versions of the mermaid, just like we have different versions of humans here.
Right.
And some are beautiful and some aren't as beautiful. Some are like more wicked looking. I mean, some animals just look terrifying.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're evil or anything. But anyways,
They're
but
beautiful as Disney portrays them to be.
right, that's what they were saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But it had hair.
Wow. That's crazy.
And I think that these mermaids were humans once that they went into the sea.
I mean,
Okay, but it gets stranger. It gets stranger. So the first one that they get, you have to go and listen to this whole thing. It's wild. But the first one they get is docile. It just like resigned itself to its fate, which is kind of sad.
yeah.
And they delivered it, and they cooked it, and they brought it out live to the table, where everybody was already there with plates and cutlery and everything. And then the guy that was telling the tale, he's like, my humanity, I couldn't be there, so he left.
Oh my God.
And they weren't even allowed to leave the facility, so it was like a secret facility on the docks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all going on now. Now we have to keep our eyes open for that crap. So that's going on. So then that happens. So then they put back out to sea, and they're going for it again. They realize the captain has all kinds of equipment up in his inside his captain's quarters or the where he's driving the ship or whatever. I'm no sailor. I've done it. I don't know these terms. Radar, all this stuff, like quite a few pieces of equipment. And he's actively hunting these things. So the whole fishing thing's the front. So they'll fish like normal for a little while, and then he gets on. He'll trip on something, and then boom, they're off to try and go get these things.
Wow.
And
Where's this video at?
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Where's this video at? Did you post it on Facebook?
No, you'll have to go into that lady on Facebook to
Oh.
find it. But if you go into her reels, go to her reels, and then like scroll across into all her playlists, and the playlist is Mermaid, and there's like 6 of them.
Okay. Cool.
There's more, but she didn't do a great job of putting it all in the playlist, so you have to find it. Yeah, I mean, people, you have to do research once in a while. It's not all just going to get handed to you.
I know, right?
They're making it really hard for us to research. So this is all these stories are like from hours of me searching this stuff out. Just so you guys know.
Oh yeah. Story.
So yeah, no, but the second time they go back out, so now they're off to another one, right? So now they find out, and they snuck into the captain's quarters too to kind of snoop around, and then the stuff they found wasn't very good. It was not great. And he's like definitely working with some sort of black. It's the same thing with the dogmen. These are all like black op dudes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't give a shit about nothing. They're just doing what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know if I'd call them evil, but these are men that are getting work done, and they don't give a frick.
No, they don't.
They'll kill anybody that gets in their way, and they'll kill. They're already killing these magical creatures. They're hunting them down and stuff.
That's crazy.
But the story I wanted to tell you that goes back into how, like, if you eat mermaid flesh, that somehow it changes you.
Mm-hmm.
So so the second one they catch, and I think they caught a third one too. Pretty sad, but the second one they catch puts up a big fight, and this one's like silvery. Give me the time when we have to leave, Jack. Okay, so the second one has like silvery kind of grayish hair, and it puts up a fight, and it's fighting. Oh, and they're talking, by the way. I forgot to add that part. They can talk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he couldn't understand the language, but that doesn't mean it was fully talking, but in a language they didn't understand just yet. I'm sure there would be a way to figure that out. It was basically saying, let me go, clinging for its life, which is really, really sad. The second one puts up a fight, and it actually scratches one of his friends as they're putting it into the thing. Then that turns into a whole freaking thing where he starts changing and stuff is growing out of his wound.
Oh.
And because of that, they have to put back to shore, and they have to get a special doctor to see him inside their special, like, docking place that they're going to, the secret docking place. That wasn't where they disembarked from, by the way. And there's other people. This is also where they cut up and ate the other mermaid, and so it's all gated. So who knows what's going on in there, right? So, but this doctor basically is like, yeah, you have to start taking these injections from now on, like once a day or some crap. And the guy's lamenting, is like, how am I going to afford this? Like, I don't even know where to get any of this stuff. Like, I have to come back to this facility, like every whatever, and the whole story just starts falling apart from there. But the guy starts changing, and he starts dreaming about stuff under the sea. He starts they start coming to him in dreams, and the same old thing, like every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And it completely changes him, and then that dude loses track of him. They don't know where he ends up going. He disappears.
Oh my gosh. So probably.
And yeah, so that's kind of where that, and then it ends up being that dude has to flee. He flees from the boat. He's supposed to go back to the boat, and he flees, and now he's on the lam somewhere.
Oh.
And that's how he wrote the story in.
That's crazy.
What the heck?
It just
But there's more.
Crazier and crazier.
There's even more to that.
Wow.
Not that story, but there's another one. So,
well, shall we stop here and you can pick up on that story when you get back?
Yeah, okay, so it'll take me like 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, all right, everybody. I don't know. I guess we're doing part 3. Let's go.
Woo! Part 3.
This will be number 12 series, and come and join us. We're having fun. Maddie and JoJo, TP's podcast. JoJo.
We love you to the moon.